Hey everyone, have you seen this photo before? Obama is being pinned down by two Secret Service agents, kneeling in front of Trump. Of course, this is an AI-generated photo, but the videos making these AI-edited images were actually made by Trump. So, I want to talk about this. I actually saw people online saying that what Obama did here is illegal. The Democrats are even worse. No matter what, the Republicans are better than the Democrats. Let's take a look at what actually happened. All right, the whole thing started in mid-July 2025. The Director of National Intelligence of the United States. This person is in charge of coordinating all U.S. intelligence agencies. She publicly released a declassified report. She said that the Obama administration manipulated intelligence assessments in 2016 and abused their power to go after political opponents. In other words, the intelligence agencies were saying one thing, but Obama deliberately twisted it, ordering the intelligence agencies to do something else, with the goal of targeting Trump. This essentially amounted to a coup plot against candidate Trump. So, they tried to overthrow Trump. The problem is, Trump hadn't been elected yet, but he actually did get elected. The core of this report is a letter from September 2016. Remember, that was the year Trump was elected for the first time. It was an internal email from the National Intelligence Council, which stated, Russia probably is not trying to influence the election by using cyber means. According to the intelligence assessment, Russia might not have tried to use electronic methods to influence the U.S. election. That's the core of it. Let's take a look at the full excerpt from the report. People made it very clear, accusing the intelligence community of actively suppressing this crucial document. It was asserted that Russia and other criminal entities had absolutely no intention of influencing the 2016 election. Using cyber attacks on infrastructure, and this matter was suppressed. Then they manipulated intelligence to sway public opinion. We are working with CIA on a PDB submission of the fact. That analysis showed no sign of direct Russian manipulation of the voting process. What he said was that there was no evidence. This is the best example of taking things out of context. Let me teach you what taking things out of context means. This is taking things out of context. What he said was that there is no evidence Russia could change the voting results, meaning hacking into your voting system and altering the vote counts. No, that didn't happen. That's it. This is a perfect example of taking things out of context. When I was a kid in elementary school, what did taking things out of context mean? Let me give you an example. Zhuangzi, I was always reading these books in 6th grade. My life has its limits, but knowledge has no limits. So we should study hard. This is a classic case of taking things out of context, because our lives are limited, but knowledge is limitless, so we keep studying. But it turns out Zhuangzi actually had another line after that. My life has its limits, but knowledge has no limits. To use the limited to pursue the unlimited, that's dangerous. Using a finite life to chase infinite knowledge is actually a very risky thing. So basically, he's telling you not to study. All right, so the FBI requested an assessment before the election, saying that Russia would try to change the election outcome, but it was meant to soften things up. the FBI didn't actually have direct information, saying that they wanted to interfere with our election. So basically, nowadays, if you say Russia wants to change the election results, if you emphasize this point, it's actually unfounded. All right. So the official statement from ODNI and the PDB was, don't say that Russia is trying to change our voting results. And a lot of intelligence officials agreed with this. That's just how it is. All right, the leaders and the PDB agreed. We agree that Russia wasn't trying to influence the outcome of the election by manipulating computer voting, the vote counting machines. This is actually very limited. It's not that Russia didn't want to influence the election results. It's that they had no intention to tamper with the vote counting machines. That's basically what was said. So, when this particular item first came out into the market, on September 12, 2016, the enemy, our adversaries, did not and would not have the capability to potentially launch a very large-scale and devastating cyber attack against our critical and vulnerable voting systems. So the result is, now this director of national intelligence is accusing. And so these people said this. On October 7th, they published a statement in the newspapers saying they were confident that the Russian government had the potential to attack the US election. So as a result, on November 6th, Trump beat Hillary. The report also pointed out that this email, during the rest of the election period, was not adopted as the mainstream opinion. On the contrary, within a few weeks, the Obama administration ordered many intelligence agencies to further investigate the relationship between Trump and Russia. At the same time, according to the FISA Act, if a hostile country is found to be influencing our election, an assessment is conducted on the campaign team. Gabbard is said to have accused the Obama administration of deliberately withholding the judgment that there was no collusion, and instead mobilizing his intelligence agencies to go after Trump, with the goal of preventing him from being elected. That's the controversy. The intelligence agency said Russia did not interfere, but you kept emphasizing Russian interference, and even went so far as to wiretap people, which was actually an attempt to influence the election and manipulate intelligence. This is the accusation. Trump responded quickly, saying that Obama was suspected of launching an unconstitutional coup in 2016. When he was interviewed, he said, "This is a coup, a betrayal. Obama knew what the emails said, but still kept attacking me. This isn't a mistake, it's a conspiracy. I don't care whether he did it on purpose or not. He might have deliberately tried to refute it, but that's just how he understands things. This is a criminal act. Obama and his team should be prosecuted for treason." Then he created an AI-generated video showing Obama being arrested by the FBI at the White House and shared it with his supporters, saying that justice is coming. Then he asked Attorney General Bundy to immediately launch a criminal investigation. And he also initiated criminal investigation procedures against Powell as well. Everyone saw this video. That no one is above the law, not even Obama. Obama made his own statement of truth, saying it was AI-generated fake news. In the video, Obama was in the Oval Office, arrested by 2 FBI agents, and pinned to the ground. Trump said, "It's time to go after these people. The Department of Justice has the authority to bring possible lawsuits." The whole group, people like Susan Rice, the entire Obama team, with Obama in the middle, the whole group was arrested. There are 3 steps in the logic of the accusation. The intelligence says, Russia did not attempt to influence the election. This is the view of some analysts. This is an opinion that someone put forward. It was a preliminary assessment issued in September 2016. It was not the consensus of the entire intelligence community, but it was representative. The Obama administration. This is the accusation. The Obama administration did not adopt the opinion in this email. In October, they issued a statement saying that Russia intended to interfere in the U.S. election. They wanted to support the intelligence agencies in continuing to investigate Trump. The intelligence agencies, based on FISA, monitored Trump's staff, especially targeting the staff at that time. Carter Page. He was wiretapped for national security reasons. Gabbard and Trump supporters believe that this series of actions constituted a deliberate attempt by senior White House officials to mislead people and a political crackdown on Trump, hoping that Trump would not get elected. That email could have become evidence that Trump was innocent, but you deliberately suppressed it and didn't make it public. Then used a witch hunt approach to go after Trump. That's the accusation. All right, let's look at the clarification. Just now, I was trying to explain to everyone that he completely confused the issues. There's no way, there was no intention to hack into the election voting infrastructure, and no intention to influence the election through public opinion. These are 2 different things. They're 2 separate matters. It's not that easy to hack into the election voting infrastructure without anyone noticing. That's pretty much impossible because it's very secure. Even Russia knows they can't pull it off. But did Russia have any influence, using the power of its intelligence agencies with the intention to influence the outcome of the 2016 election? Of course they did. The 2017 IC report clearly stated that Russia did not alter and did not have the ability to alter the voting results. In 2017, an intelligence agency report was released, but it clearly showed that through social media and the DNC, email leaks, they carried out influence operations, supporting Trump and attacking Hillary. This is very clear. This is exactly how all of Hillary's emails were leaked. Through Russian intelligence agencies to WikiLeaks. And then WikiLeaks released them, which ended up affecting Hillary's campaign. That's how it happened. It's just that they didn't tamper with the voting machines, but they did use electronic means to obtain some information and release it to influence the election. Obama's office said, "These ridiculous accusations are completely baseless. You're just trying to divert attention because you're beset on all sides." The special counsel's 2019 report clearly pointed out that Russia used social media operations and cyber intrusions to interfere in the election. Russia did do this, but there's no evidence of collusion with Donald Trump. But the interference itself was real. There really was interference, but there's no evidence that Donald Trump conspired. The results of the congressional investigation in 2020, which included the Republican chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Richard Burr, and Rubio confirming the 2017 report, logically rigorous and technically reliable. There's no reason to doubt their conclusions. Russia did interfere, but they used hackers And the hackers stole those DNC emails, then made them public, which caused Hillary to lose the election. Rubio's comments emphasized that there's no evidence showing Donald Trump colluded with Russia, but Russian interference is beyond any doubt. He also criticized the FBI for relying too heavily on the Steele dossier. Many media outlets even say that what you're doing now, talking about arresting Obama, is actually just an attempt to distract from the Epstein case. Donald Trump, who is deeply entangled in the Epstein affair, because whether or not to make the Epstein files public, is there something about him in those documents? Recently, some people have said the documents really do reveal something about Donald Trump. He often went to Florida. Now they're shifting their supporters' public opinion onto Obama and attacking him like crazy, using it to change the narrative, because the Epstein case is very damaging, since he's been pushing this conspiracy theory all along, saying that Epstein was killed and that it covered up for those powerful people. But now here you are, and you don't dare to make it public. Why is that? Obama responded through his spokesperson Patrick Rodenbush, calling this a completely absurd political attack. Back in 2016, the intelligence community's assessment was that having different opinions was normal, but ultimately, there was an interagency consensus that led to the public assessment. This email was just one of many opinions. The overall intelligence system reached its conclusion in October with a mainstream consensus that Russia did indeed interfere. There's no evidence showing that Obama ever intervened. So what exactly is treason? Let's look at the Constitution. It requires clear proof of collaborating with the enemy or aiding an enemy nation. It's not just about making mistakes or having intelligence assessments that are off. That would be called treason. In these situations, at most, even if he guessed wrong, it's just a policy mistake. An error in administrative judgment is very hard to prosecute. Moreover, the president and senior advisors have broad immunity when carrying out national security tasks. They are highly protected. Basically, when the president is exercising national security powers, he is almost immune from prosecution. There is a legal firewall in place, so lawsuits can't really be established. At most, you can say he made a mistake. And honestly, everyone is talking about different things. The currently available public evidence can't prove any criminal behavior by Obama. The emails are just part of the many opinions within the intelligence system. And as for the laws on treason and coups, the requirements simply aren't met. Plus, these are actually two separate issues. One issue is whether the voting machines could be tampered with, and whether computer methods could be used to influence the US election.